Have you ever paused mid-bite, fork hovering over a vibrant pile of greens, and wondered if the vegetables you've been told to embrace might secretly be working against you? As we journey through the golden years of life, the mantra of "eat your veggies" echoes louder than ever, praised by doctors, nutritionists, and well-meaning loved ones alike. But what if some of those so-called health heroes are quietly stirring up trouble beneath the surface? What if, instead of nourishing us, they're taxing our aging bodies, making digestion a battleground and planting seeds for long-term health woes? It's a startling thought, one that turns the familiar comfort of a vegetable-laden plate into a mystery worth unraveling. The truth is, not all vegetables wear halos. Some, cloaked in their nutrient-rich reputations, can be surprisingly tough for our bodies to handle, especially as we age. For seniors, whose digestive systems often slow like a river winding through its final bends, these foods can spark discomfort, inflammation, and even complications that ripple far beyond the dinner table. Imagine the frustration of choosing health, only to feel bloated, achy, or drained instead. In this exploration, we're pulling back the curtain on 5 vegetables that older adults might want to sidestep, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, to reclaim better digestion and a more vibrant life. Some of these culprits might catch you off guard. They're often hailed as dietary darlings, yet their hidden effects can dim that glow for those past their prime. Picture this. You've just finished a meal, perhaps a hearty broccoli soup or a tangy tomato salad, and instead of satisfaction, a familiar unease creeps in. Bloating presses against your waistband. Acid reflux sends a sour note up your throat, or an ache settles into your joints like an uninvited guest. Could your vegetable choices be the silent saboteurs? If you've ever wrestled with these nagging symptoms, this isn't just a list of what to avoid. It's a roadmap to smarter choices that can lift you out of discomfort and into a life of greater ease. We'll dive deep into each vegetable, peeling back layers of science and stories to reveal why they might betray you. And we'll sprinkle in tips for gentler alternatives that keep you thriving. So, settle in. This isn't about deprivation, it's about empowerment. Let's embark on this journey together. Number 1. Cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. First up are the cruciferous vegetables. Those craggy, earthy staples like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts that often grace our plates with their wholesome promise. For 68-year-old Margaret, a retired school teacher with a love for gardening, these were her go-to ingredients. She'd spend crisp autumn mornings tending her backyard plot, harvesting heads of cauliflower and leafy cabbage with pride, then steaming them into dinners she'd share with her husband, Tom. They'd sit at their worn oak table, reminiscing about their teaching days, savoring the simple goodness of homegrown food. But lately, Margaret noticed a shift. After meals, her stomach would churn, bloating would set in like a stubborn fog, and she'd spend the evening restless, wondering why her body seemed to rebel against her efforts to stay healthy. Margaret's story isn't unique. Cruciferous vegetables, while bursting with vitamins like C and K and fiber that promises regularity, carry a double-edged sword. They're loaded with sulfur compounds and a tricky carbohydrate called raffinose, elements that, for many seniors, turn digestion into a battlefield. As we age, our stomachs produce less acid and enzymes, and our intestines move more sluggishly, like a train nearing the end of its route. This slowdown means those tough fibers and sulfurous bits don't break down as easily. Instead, they ferment in the gut, bubbling up into gas that presses against your insides, leaving you bloated and cramped. Picture eating a steaming bowl of broccoli soup, its rich green aroma filling the kitchen, only to spend the next hour rubbing your abdomen, wishing the discomfort away. Take Tom, for instance. At 70, he'd always prided himself on his iron stomach, honed from years of scarfing down school cafeteria lunches. But after a plate of roasted Brussels sprouts, golden and crisp from Margaret's oven, he'd feel a heaviness settle in, followed by sharp twinges that kept him pacing the living room. It wasn't just the gas, though. These vegetables harbor goitrogens, compounds that can meddle with thyroid function by blocking iodine absorption, a concern for seniors like Tom, who'd been managing hypothyroidism since his 50s. Over time, eating too many could tip the scales, leaving him fatigued, his energy sapped as if the day's light had dimmed early. The science backs their struggles. Raffinose, that pesky carb, resists digestion until gut bacteria get hold of it, churning out gas as a byproduct. For younger bodies, this might be a minor hiccup, but for seniors with sensitive systems, it's a storm in a teacup, or rather, a stomach. And those sulfur compounds, they're the same ones that give cabbage its pungent kick, but they can also irritate the gut lining, amplifying discomfort. Studies suggest that while cruciferous veggies shine in cancer prevention and heart health, their digestive drawbacks can outweigh the benefits for some, especially if eaten raw or in heaps. Does this mean banishing broccoli forever? Not quite. Margaret and Tom didn't ditch their garden bounty, they adapted. Lightly steaming or roasting their haul softened those tough fibers, easing the load on their stomachs. A small serving of cauliflower, kissed by olive oil and a sprinkle of herbs, became a treat rather than a trial. And when bloating still lingered, they swapped in gentler players. Zucchini, with its smooth, yielding flesh, bell peppers, bright and mild, or carrots, sweet and easygoing. These alternatives delivered nutrients without the fight, letting Margaret and Tom enjoy their meals and their evenings once more. For you, the lesson is clear. What you eat should lift you up, not weigh you down. If cruciferous vegetables leave you feeling like Margaret, trapped in a cycle of discomfort, it's worth a closer look. Try scaling back, cooking them tenderly, or trading them for kinder options. Your body's signals are your guide, and tuning in could unlock a lighter, freer you. As we age, health isn't just about piling on the good stuff. It's about choosing what truly works for the body you live in now. Number 2, nightshade vegetables. Tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, and potatoes. Next on our list are the nightshade vegetables. Those colorful, everyday favorites like tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, and potatoes that weave their way into countless meals. They're the backbone of a juicy spaghetti sauce, the star of a stuffed pepper, or the hearty comfort of a mashed potato mound. But for some seniors, these kitchen stalwarts might be stirring up more than just flavor. Meet Clara, a 72-year-old widow with a passion for cooking, her small apartment always humming with the aroma of simmering stews. After her husband passed, she found solace in the rhythm of chopping and stirring, crafting dishes that filled her quiet evenings with warmth. Yet lately, her joy has been shadowed by a nagging stiffness in her hands and knees, a burning in her chest after meals, and a fatigue she can't shake. Could her beloved ingredients be the culprits? Nightshades harbor a secret. Compounds like solanine, a natural toxin lurking in potatoes and tomatoes, and alkaloids that ripple through eggplants and peppers. For many, these chemicals pass unnoticed, but for seniors like Clara, whose body has weathered decades of wear and tear, they can ignite inflammation, turning joints into creaky hinges and stomachs into restless seas. Clara's arthritis, a companion since her 60s, flared after nights of eggplant parmesan, her knuckles swelling as if echoing the dish's rich layers. She'd sit by her window, gazing at the street below, rubbing her hands and wondering why her body seemed to punish her for eating what she'd always loved. The science paints a vivid picture. Solanine, concentrated in green potatoes but present in smaller doses elsewhere in the nightshade family, has been linked to inflammation in sensitive individuals. For seniors with arthritis or joint stiffness, it's like tossing kindling on a smoldering fire. Pain flares, mobility wanes, and mornings become a negotiation with aching limbs. Studies are mixed, but countless anecdotes, like Clara's, suggest a connection too strong to ignore. She'd hobble to her kitchen, determined to keep cooking, only to find her energy drained, her joints protesting every step. Friends urged her to try cutting back, and after a reluctant 2-week break from tomatoes and peppers, she felt a shift, less stiffness, a lighter stride, as if her body had exhaled a long-held breath. Then there's the digestive dance. Tomatoes and peppers, with their bright acidity, can be a siren song for acid reflux. Clara loved her homemade salsa, ripe tomatoes diced with green peppers, a kick of spice to liven her solitary dinners. But too often, it ended with a sour burn creeping up her throat, forcing her to prop pillows high and sip water through the night. As we age, the lower esophageal sphincter weakens, letting stomach acid sneak back where it doesn't belong. For seniors with GERD or sensitive stomachs, these acidic nightshades can turn a meal into a marathon of discomfort. Potatoes, meanwhile, play a different game. Their high glycemic index sends blood sugar spiking, a roller coaster Clara felt as mid-afternoon sluggishness after a lunch of roasted spuds. For seniors managing diabetes or insulin resistance, it's a subtle but steady strain. Clara's story isn't a call to exile nightshades entirely, it's a nudge to listen. She didn't abandon her cooking, she adapted it. A sweet potato mash replaced white potatoes, its gentle sweetness soothing her blood sugar and her soul. She swapped tomatoes for a creamy carrot puree in her sauces, marveling at how it hugged her pasta without the backlash. Cooking her peppers, roasting them until their skins blistered, tamed some of their bite, letting her savor their flavor with less regret. And when she craved eggplant, she kept portions small, pairing it with anti-inflammatory olive oil to temper its edge. Her kitchen stayed alive, and so did she, freer, lighter, her hands steadier as she stirred. If Clara's tale resonates, if joint pain, heartburn, or energy dips shadow your days, nightshades might be worth a second look. Experiment with a break, just a week or two, and note how your body responds. Swap them for allies like leafy greens, zucchini, or sweet potatoes, and see if the fog lifts. Aging doesn't mean surrendering joy. It means refining it, choosing foods that fuel you, not fight you. Clara learned that her meals could still tell stories of love and memory, just with a gentler cast of characters. What might your body whisper if you gave it the chance to rewrite its own recipe? Number 3. Raw onions and garlic. Now let's turn to a pair of kitchen titans, raw onions and garlic. They're the unsung heroes of countless recipes, lending a sharp bite to salads, a savory depth to soups, and a punch to marinades that can transform the mundane into the memorable. For 66-year-old Javier, a former mechanic turned home chef, these were the heartbeat of his cooking. After retiring, he traded wrenches for whisks, filling his modest bungalow with the sense of his childhood. His mother's arroz con pollo, fragrant with garlic, or a crisp, onion-dressed ceviche that summoned seaside summers. But recently, Javier's passion has hit a sour note. After meals, his stomach twists with bloating. A fiery burn climbs his chest, and he's left pacing his linoleum floor, wondering if his trusty staples have turned traitor. Onions and garlic pack a potent punch, thanks to sulfur compounds and fermentable fibers called fructans. These give them their bold flavor, but for seniors like Javier, they can also unleash a digestive tempest. As we age, our gut's machinery slows. Less stomach acid, fewer enzymes, a lazier pace through the intestines. Raw onions, with their crisp, tear-inducing layers, and garlic, with its pungent cloves, hit this sluggish system hard. Fructans resist breakdown until they reach the colon, where gut bacteria feast on them, churning out gas like a factory in overdrive. For Javier, a raw onion salad, crunching with freshness, meant hours of bloating, his belly tight as a drum, while a garlic-heavy marinade left him gassy and grimacing, far from the joy he sought in his kitchen. Then there's the reflux. Javier loved a late-night snack, tortillas topped with raw onion and a smear of garlic paste, a nod to his roots. But too often, it ended with him propped up in bed, a bitter taste clawing at his throat. These vegetables relax the lower esophageal sphincter, that gatekeeper between stomach and esophagus, letting acid slip back up. For seniors with GERD or a sensitive stomach, it's a recipe for sleepless nights. Javier's doctor had warned him about spicy foods, but he never suspected these quiet culprits. The sulfur compounds, meanwhile, can irritate the gut lining, turning a meal into a lingering ache. Once after a garlic-laden stew, he felt cramps so sharp, he wondered if he'd pushed his body too far. Javier's not alone. Studies peg fructans as a common trigger for bloating and gas, especially in those with sensitive guts or IBS. For seniors whose digestive resilience fades, raw forms amplify the trouble. But Javier's love for flavor ran deep. He wasn't ready to let go. He remembered his mother sautéing onions until they melted into golden sweetness, roasting garlic until it softened into a mellow hum. Could that be the key? He experimented, caramelizing onions for his rice, infusing oil with garlic instead of chopping it raw. The results stunned him. The bloating eased, the reflux quieted, and his kitchen stayed alive with taste, not torment. He found allies too. Shallots, milder and gentler, slipped into his dishes with less fuss. Green onions, just the tender tops, added zip without the sting. Javier's evenings shifted. No more pacing, just the soft clink of dishes as he savored his creations. His story mirrors countless others. A tweak in preparation, a swap for kindness, and suddenly, food feels like a friend again. If raw onions or garlic leave you bloated, burned, or bent over, take a page from Javier's book. Cook them low and slow, or sidestep them for chives or leaks. Aging doesn't dim flavor, it refines it, asking only that we listen to the body's quiet pleas. Picture Javier now, apron dusted with flour, a smile creasing his weathered face as he plates a meal that nourishes without nagging. That's the promise here. Not loss, but discovery. Your gut signals, those rumbles, those burns, are a compass. Follow them, and you might find a table still rich with joy, just gentler on the soul. What could your kitchen whisper if you tuned in? Number 4. Corn and other tough-to-digest starches. Now, let's step into the sunny fields of corn, a vegetable that dances through our diets in golden kernels, from steaming cobs at summer barbecues to the irresistible pop of movie night popcorn. It's a staple that feels like a hug from simpler times. For Nancy, a 70-year-old grandmother with a laugh as warm as her kitchen, corn was a cornerstone. She'd spend humid July afternoons shucking ears with her grandkids, their sticky fingers racing to strip the husks, then boil them until the house swelled with that sweet, earthy scent. Later, she'd settle into her rocker with a bowl of popcorn, the crunch a soundtrack to old westerns, flickering on her TV. But lately, Nancy's corn-filled rituals have soured. After meals, her stomach bloats like a balloon. A heavy sluggishness weighs her down, and she's left wondering if her body's betraying her love for this golden grain. Corn's charm hides a challenge. Its outer shell, made of cellulose, is a fortress the human gut can't fully breach. As we age, digestion slows, enzymes dwindle, intestines dawdle, and this tough fiber passes through mostly intact, a stubborn guest that overstays its welcome. For Nancy, a plate of corn on the cob, glistening with butter, meant hours of discomfort. Her belly distended as if she'd swallowed a stone. She'd catch herself in the mirror, frowning at the puffiness, then later spot those telltale kernels in the bathroom, a sign her body couldn't keep up. It wasn't just nostalgia at stake. It was her energy, her ease, the lightness she craved to chase her grandkids around the yard. The trouble deepens with texture and quantity. Popcorn, Nancy's late-night companion, was a double-edged sword. Those sharp, unyielding hulls scratched at her gut, irritating a system already prone to sensitivity. She'd wince after a handful, a dull ache settling in, unaware that her diverticulosis, those tiny pouches lining her colon, common in seniors might be flaring under the assault. Studies whisper a link. Tough starches like corn can aggravate such conditions, turning a snack into a silent saboteur. And then there's the sugar spike. Corn's high glycemic index sends blood glucose soaring, a jolt Nancy felt as midday crashes after a tortilla lunch. For seniors watching diabetes or insulin resistance, it's a subtle thief, sapping vitality over time. Nancy's turning point came at a family picnic. After a corn-heavy feast, grilled cobs, cornbread, the works, she spent the afternoon sidelined, bloated and listless while the kids played tag. Her daughter, a nurse, nudged her toward change. "Mom, maybe it's the corn," she said, handing her a slice of zucchini instead. Skeptical but desperate, Nancy cut back. She traded corn on the cob for roasted carrots, their sweetness a gentle echo of what she'd lost. Popcorn nights became cucumber slices with a sprinkle of salt, crisp, light, kind. The shift stunned her. Her stomach settled, her energy bloomed, and she was back in the game, racing her grandson to the swing set with a grin. Moderation became her mantra. A small scoop of corn salsa at a party? Fine. A daily reliance on tortillas? Not anymore. She leaned into leafy greens, bell peppers, mashed cauliflower, foods that fueled her without the fight. Science nods along. While corn offers fiber and vitamins, its digestive toll can outweigh the perks for seniors with slower systems. Nancy's story isn't about banning corn, it's about balance. If bloating, heaviness, or blood sugar swings shadow your meals, corn might be whispering a warning. Test a break, swap it for softer starches, and see if your body sighs in relief. Imagine Nancy now, rocking on her porch, a plate of zucchini fries at her side, her laughter mingling with the kids' shouts. That's the gift of listening. Not less, but more. More play, more peace, more you. Could your plate hold the key to that same lightness? What might shift if you let corn take a back seat? Number 5. Spinach and other high oxalate greens. Finally, we arrive at spinach and its high oxalate kin. Greens often crowned as royalty in the vegetable kingdom, their deep, leafy hues promising a bounty of vitamins and vigor. For William, a 73-year-old widower and avid walker, spinach was his daily ritual. Each morning, he'd blend a handful into a smoothie or toss it into a salad, its iron tang a nod to the strength he'd built hiking trails with his late wife, Ellen. After her passing, those walks and his health kept him tethered to life, his wiry frame cutting through park paths with purpose. But lately, pain has shadowed his strides. Kidney stones, jagged and merciless, have struck twice in 3 years. Each episode, a grueling ordeal that left him doubled over, questioning his choices. Could his trusty spinach be the silent foe? Spinach gleams with nutrients, vitamin K for bones, antioxidants for vitality, but hides a catch: oxalates, natural compounds that in excess can bind with calcium and crystallize into kidney stones. For seniors like William, whose kidneys filter with less finesse as the years pile on, this risk looms larger. He'd sip his smoothie, proud of his healthy habit, unaware that each gulp tipped the scales toward trouble. Oxalates don't just threaten stones. They meddle with calcium absorption, snatching it up in the gut before it can bolster bones. William, already wary of osteoporosis after a doctor's warning, didn't realize his spinach devotion might be weakening the very frame he relied on for his walks. A fracture he knew could steal his independence, a fear that haunted quiet nights. His wake-up call came after that second stone. Curled on his couch, ice pack pressed to his side, he replayed the doctor's words. "Cut the oxalates, William." Spinach topped the list, its oxalate load dwarfing other greens. He'd always seen it as a shield, not a sword. Doubt crept in. Years of salads, years of faith in eat your greens, now shaken. But William was a problem solver. He'd fixed roofs and rebuilt engines in his day. He swapped spinach for romaine, its crunch lighter on his system, and bok choy, tender and mild. Kale crept in, lower in oxalates, still brimming with goodness. Months passed, no stones, no pain, and his walks stretched longer, his stride surer under the morning sun. The science aligns. High oxalate greens like spinach, beet greens, and Swiss chard can spike stone risk in the prone, while their calcium-binding ways challenge bone health. For seniors whose kidneys and skeletons bear time's wear, it's a double blow. But William didn't abandon greens, he redirected. Pairing the occasional spinach with yogurt he learned could bind oxalates early, easing the strain. Mostly, though, he chose kinder leaves, arugula's peppery bite, mustard green's gentle zing, keeping his plate vibrant, his body steady. His stories a beacon. Health isn't blind loyalty to superfoods. It's tailoring them to the body you have now. Picture William today, lacing his boots, a kale salad packed for a trailside lunch. No stones shadow his steps, his bones hum with quiet strength. If kidney pain, bone worries, or digestive unease echo in your life, spinach might be worth a rethink. Try lower oxalate greens, pair wisely, and see if relief follows. Aging asks for wisdom, not sacrifice. William found his path, green and growing still. What might yours look like if you listen closer? Final thoughts. So, here we stand, at the crossroads of a vegetable tale that's less about villains and more about understanding. A journey through the plates of Margaret, Clara, Javier, Nancy, and William. 5 souls whose stories whisper a universal truth. What we eat shapes how we live, especially as the years weave silver into our hair and wisdom into our bones. These aren't just names, they're mirrors, reflecting the quiet battles we all face when health feels like a puzzle with shifting pieces. Maybe you felt it too, that bloat after broccoli, the burn of a tomato sauce, the ache that lingers like an unwelcome guest. This isn't about stripping your table bare, it's about filling it with choices that cradle your body, not challenge it. Let's linger with these lessons. Margaret's cruciferous woes taught us that broccoli and cabbage, for all their vitamin might, can ferment into discomfort when digestion slows. Yet a steamed bite or a zucchini swap can turn the tide. Clara's nightshade struggles unveiled how tomatoes and potatoes might stoke inflammation or reflux, but sweet potatoes and cooked peppers offered her kitchen a gentler muse. Javier's raw onion and garlic saga showed that flavor needn't cost comfort. Sautéed softness or a shallot's whisper kept his soul fed. Nancy's corn conundrum revealed digestion's limits, yet carrots and greens lifted her back to play. And William's spinach reckoning proved even superfoods have shadows. Kale and romaine became his steady allies, guarding his kidneys and bones. This isn't a farewell to vegetables, it's a hello to discernment. Aging shifts the rules. What once worked might now waver. If bloating, acid reflux, joint pain, or kidney stones shadow your days, these 5 cruciferous greens, nightshades, raw onions and garlic, corn, high oxalate spinach, might be whispering clues. Test the waters, scale back, tweak how you cook. Trade them for kinder kin. Zucchini for broccoli, sweet potatoes for spuds, cooked leeks for raw onions, cucumbers for corn, arugula for spinach. These swaps aren't losses, they're gains. Nutrients delivered without the fight. Your body's signals, those rumbles, those twinges, are a language. Learn it, and you'll craft a diet that doesn't just sustain, but sings. Imagine this, a meal that leaves you light, not laden. Energy to chase a grandchild, dance in the kitchen, or walk a trail at dawn. That's the prize here, not perfection, but presence. Margaret steams her cauliflower with a smile. Clara stirs her carrot sauce with steady hands. Javier plates his rice with pride. Nancy races her grandson laughing. William strides his path unbowed. They didn't lose food's joy, they refined it, listening to bodies that had carried them this far. What might shift for you if you tuned in? A week without nightshades, a month off raw garlic, small steps could unveil a lighter you. Thank you for walking this path with us. Your thoughts fuel this journey. Drop a comment below with one nugget you'll carry forward, one change you'll try. Maybe it's roasting your Brussels sprouts or swapping spinach for kale. Tell us, and let's spark each other's wisdom. Your voice matters. It's the heartbeat of this conversation, urging us to keep digging, keep sharing. If this stirred you, hit like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Your support lights the way for more stories, more insights. Picture yourself at tomorrow's table, plate brimming with choices that lift you up. That's not just eating healthy, that's living it fully, freely for years to come. We'll see you in the next chapter. Until then, eat well, listen close, and thrive.